G'day everyone, it's Calvin here, shedding sheep New Zealand. I can't get the light right, but there's the sheep behind me. These are my ewe hoggets. Mating's all finished, and today's a little bit of an emotional day. A couple are leaving. This little one here, that one, yeah, that one there. And Matilda, where are you? Oh, she's right over the back. Backwards, that one, yeah, that one. It's a little Ruby Bell here, and Matilda over the back there are going to a non-breeding location. Now, this little one, when you were born, hey, I remember you being born, her mum is a black ewe, Dot, and she had this little tiny lamb, hey, little tiny lamb, and it just, it was lying in the paddock and Mum was doing everything that she was meant to. She was cleaning it. And it was about, just after 6 o'clock. And I headed out, it was about 6:30 by the time I finished watching. And I headed out around just before 8 o'clock. And there was a little white lump on the ground, wasn't there, miss? And I thought it was dead. So it was inside we came. Heat pump on, rubbing, hot water bottles, body heat lamp under the table, and she didn't stand for the first day, didn't stand for the next day, and about 11 o'clock of the night I picked her up. I managed to get her to drink a little bit, and yeah, the next day I had her standing, and she lived inside, and I didn't have much footage of her. Why didn't I have much footage, miss? Because I didn't think you were going to survive, eh? I thought she was gonna be dead, but there she is. And I didn't know quite what I was going to do because it was late in the season, and this Ruby Bell here was a triplet. Cull ewe from last year, meant to be dog tucker, but she was too close to lambing for me to do anything about it, and she was born. So she became a friend for Matilda. I've actually got a YouTube channel doing cars as well.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So 25,000 subscribers on that one.
Wow.
As of this week.
Neat.
Yeah, so, and the sheep thing, I kind of started the sheep thing because I see so many bits of wrong information.
Yes.
So just trying to focus on, what I'm doing, show the good and the bad, because, your stud breeders can't show the bad stuff. They don't want to show the scruffy little lambs like I'm giving you.
Yep.
They can't show that. But I can, and the reality of sheep farming and those sorts of things. So, and I can talk about worms and all those sorts of things very openly, and there's no negative commercial effect to me.
Yes.
So it's really advantageous for that. Anyway, what's happening today is a Sarah here has come to pick up Matilda and Ruby Bell. And she's just been overseas, and when she arrived I was kind of like, you must have a really interesting job. And I have actually looked a little bit on your Facebook profile, and I've seen a couple of posts of a little bit that you're doing, a tiny bit. But Sarah, introduce yourself, tell me about your qualifications, and then tell me about what you do.
Right. Hi. So I'm Sarah Cowie. I'm an associate professor in psychology at the University of Auckland, which is not where you expect people working with sheep to come from. My PhD was in animal learning and behaviour, and I've done quite a bit of work with animal models of decision making. My foray into sheep was completely by accident, in fact, but it was discovering that sheep have these incredible cognitive abilities, so they can remember these 2 years, and that's sheep faces and human faces. So Matilda will remember you.
Matilda. Now it's Matilda because Minty is her dad.
Right,
yes,
nice,
you see?
Excellent.
So that's why when my other one that I gave away, that when Frankie, my other friendly sheep, that came back for a bit of a visit, conjugal visits with Indigo, she just connected straight back into me. She
Yes.
just came to me and was no problem.
Yes.
Because she can actually remember me for 2 years.
She can, yes, and it's only, I say 2 years because that was the length of time that they ran the experiment for. It's probably longer than that.
Okay.
So, and the incredible thing about it is that they can track our faces as we age too. So,
Bonus.
Yep, bonus. That's right. So when those periods of life where people are going through rapid changes in facial structure and things like that, as you grow up, the sheep are on top of that and they still recognise you.
Okay. With the studies that you're doing, what's the end goal? Is there an end goal to your studies? Do you have a hypothesis that you're trying to prove, or are you just trying to understand more about what goes on in their little minds?
It's largely about understanding what goes on in their little minds, but I guess there are two kind of main goals. One of them is looking at links between, I guess, well-being and production and growth, and we know that happy animals grow well. What is it that makes a sheep happy? And that goes right back to early life experiences as they grow up, social connections, changes in their social environment, and how that links into production, milk production, wool production, meat production. Also, the more sort of psychologically relevant side of that is that I'm really interested in the extent to which animals think about the future. So
Okay.
we know that with humans anyway, thinking about the future requires being able to remember the past. And one thing that we know about sheep is that they have pretty good memories, at least for social things. We know that they can anticipate things that are going to happen. So for me, they seem like the perfect animal to be exploring future-oriented decision making.
Right. On a very small scale, I can understand them predicting the future because I walk down the paddock with a red bucket. They think they're going to get fed.
Mm-hmm.
And my 3 troublemakers know that between 4 and 5 o'clock, I'm walking down to feed chickens. So they've gotten to that routine. And I could stop doing that for a week, or they could be somewhere else, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and they'll still remember that.
Mm-hmm.
But it goes longer than that, doesn't it?
Well, that's what I think it does, but that's what I hope that my research will uncover. So there's a school of thought in the area of comparative cognition that says that the way that humans think about the future is somehow fundamentally different from how non-human animals do, and that we think, I guess, further into the future and maybe more vividly about the future.
Yeah.
But I think with sheep particularly, so long as we've got relaxed sheep, that allows us to sort of tap into those decision-making mechanisms, because the other thing about sheep is that we know a little bit about their facial expressions and their ear positions and how those tap into emotions. So we have more insight into kind of the inner world of the sheep than we might do with, say, birds, where it's there's a lot less on the outside that's indicating emotional states.
Because you did mention you were studying pigeons.
Yes.
Which have probably got a brain less than the size of a pea.
A very, very tiny brain, yes. But they can do incredible things.
Yeah. You talked about quiet sheep, and you can see my sheep are pretty relaxed here today.
They are very, very chilled.
That is kind of like what I like. I've gone through and picked off the ewes that weren't so friendly, and the idea is not to buy any more because I like that more on the property, advantages there, and I like quiet and calm. I like to be able to control that, so I can get animals that are nice and calm. So is Ruby Bell and Matilda going to be part of your studies?
Yes, I hope so, if they would like to be. So it's always got to be optional.
She has to give consent, I think.
She has to give consent,
right.
Yes. So she's got to want to come in and make decisions. And so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask her to choose good things. So, does she want this type of food or that type of food? Does she want to spend time later this afternoon with Ruby Bell or with Ken, and those sorts of things, and we'll know a little bit about things like their social preferences, their preferences for food, and we can start, once we teach them what we want them to do in the task that we're asking them to make a decision about what's happening next, we can then start to push out the time between when they make the decision and when the outcome happens.
Oh, yes.
And tap into future thinking that way. So, but it's got to be, there's no point in trying to force her to take part, because she won't be relaxed. She'll just be wanting to get out of the experiment.
She's pretty much always relaxed.
She looks very, very relaxed. Yes.
She pretty that is a always just been chill as.
Yep.
And she's the one I have to push down the race. She doesn't care about the dogs. Doesn't bother at all.
Yes.
And she's just always like that, and going through gates, and she's just, you're in my way. So you be prepared for that in your studies, and a little bit stubborn. And we talked about personality and the difference between personality and temperament, and how we use the word personality when that isn't a person.
Yes.
I think you could invent a word.
I think there's something that needs to be invented for that, isn't there?
Yeah.
It's not just temperament. That's too broad a brush, too basic. The sheep have these amazing sheepinalities, or whatever we want to call it. Each one is an individual.
Yes, and as you can see, we've got Millie behind you there too, and she's very cruisy. Again, she was a hand red. She's not leaving. She's very special to me because she was out of my top ewe.
Oh wow! Okay, nice.
And she was the last one born out of that top ewe.
Mm-hmm.
And her sister's a little bit leaner than I like. I'd like a rounder sheep, but just beautiful temperament and beautifully productive and grow beautiful lambs. And I think that quietness definitely helps. If the lambs are quiet, and especially if people are around, and you're trying to service those sheep and keep an eye on them and shepherd them, a wild sheep is a pain.
Yes.
It's a real problem. So how many sheep are presently involved in your study?
So at the moment, I'm just in the sort of pilot phase.
Yeah.
So working out how the task is going to work best.
Yeah.
But at home, I have got 10 sheep who were either hand raised by me or have decided that they quite like me and are comfortable spending time with me. We've got a further 35 who, are not bothered either way about me. But my plan is to start out with the 10 friendly ones, and to really nail down the details of how to do that task in a way that we're actually asking the sheep a fair question. So sheep tend to get a bad rap for being stupid, and I think that a lot of that comes from people see sheep in a situation where the sheep isn't comfortable, it wants to escape, so it's trying to, its main goal is to get out of that situation. So when you see a relaxed sheep, completely different. They can make decisions about future rewards, future company, things like that. But who doesn't want to be there? Then of course they're going to try and leave. They know what they want.
Change of brains.
Yes.
They drop from the top. Well, people that we would say it would be dropping into your reptilian. Is it reptilian brain?
Or mammalian brain and reptilian. And
what, there's another name for your instinctual brain.
Yes, the instinctive bit, and absolutely. And the sheep brain is very, very similar to the human brain.
Okay. So again, you've got a cognitive thinking part of the brain.
Mm-hmm.
So you've worked out that there is like humans, you've got an upper cortex where they can actually process and make rational decisions.
Yes.
And then they've got I'm just a sheep, I want to get out of here.
Exactly. Just like humans.
Okay, so it is just like humans. Right, because you have those sheep that, I've had some up and down my race here where they just want to leave the race. Doesn't matter, fences, and they just do dumb stuff. They'll just bang into fences, jump into fences, they're just trying to get away. The other ones that are always at the back of the paddock, they don't grow as well. They're always nervous, and you get them in here, they're the ones that knock you down and hurt you.
Yes.
I have the opposite problem when I have trouble getting my sheep now into the yards or getting them in here because they are just so calm. So I can actually use a motorbike on them, and I've got my little fox terrier that brings them in, and then the sheep forgive me, which is really interesting because you've created a whole nother thinking pattern now of what's going on. is your study eventually going to be published somewhere? Is there going to be somewhere we can track what you're doing or check your progress? Because it doesn't sound like anyone's done, gone and asked a sheep a question, or so you've got to lay down some groundwork of actually how to study the study.
Yes, and I mean there have been a few people who have asked sheep questions, but not quite these sorts of questions. And so I do plan. I hope it will be published somewhere.
Yep.
That's always the aim. But in the meantime, we've got a lab website. We're the behaviour lab at the University of Auckland, and we should really set up some Instagram or something like that so that we can show people what we're doing along the way.
If I see something come up, I will pop it into the description. Okay, so when it comes along, I will do that just to give a link of what's going on there.
Excellent.
So you can keep an idea of people who are interested can have a look, and it's really fascinating. We can see here with the sheep are calm, quiet, and I know that different sheep, I could ask them different things and have different expectations with what they're doing.
Yes.
My 3 troublemakers at the back, which are in the neighbours at the moment, getting onto trailers, no problem. Going places they shouldn't really go, no problem. But I've got other sheep that I know just won't.
Yes.
My big ram, he remembers the trailer. He doesn't like the trailer, even though at the other end of the trip there's always ladies for him. And it's always good fun times, but he's never liked the trailer. Whereas the other ones, I've got them, they just hop on. So, we can now understand. I understand a little bit more that there's more in those sheep's brains. And I think I'm going to say that some are actually pretty dumb at times.
Just like humans, you get your smart ones and your less smart ones.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I'm not sure we can put that in a video, but I'm okay with that. And so time frame, and do you use rewards when you're asking them to do something? Is there always a reward at the end?
Yes. Otherwise, why would they bother doing something? So there's got to be something in it for them. And again, as you were saying, different sheep, different rewards. So I've got some sheep who are highly food motivated. I've got some sheep who don't care about the food unless you're hand feeding it to them.
Okay.
And I've got some sheep who would just do anything for a cuddle. Yes,
just
exactly.
about.
Yep. So she's going to fit in perfectly.
Okay, it'll be really interesting when I've got another sheep over the back. She's her own sheep. She's always been her own sheep. A little bit obtuse. I think that's the right word. Just standoff, but quite calm and happy to be just there. Whereas she's very much a push-in. She's a push-in. I've had sheep that you jump up on your back to get food, and they're a problem. So I see all those different temperaments, and of course I know most of these sheep by their face too.
Yes.
Which it doesn't matter. If I could have 300, I'd still have some of them that I'd spot by face, and you know who they are, you know what they're like.
Yes.
So.
Well, you have a special, the part of our brain that deals with faces, your part is probably specialised for sheep faces as well as human faces.
Animal over the years, okay. So that is different in humans as well?
Yes, so people who don't spend a lot of time around sheep, the same, but just like experts in anything, so cars, trucks, cows, whatever, if you spend a lot of time around those things, you are better at recognising features of them. And so, for example, your sheep all have different faces.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. Yeah, okay. Really fascinating. And I can see that Millie's there as happy as. She's given you permission, and she's really interested in what you're doing.
Which is nice.
And you can see that she's calm as and
totally relaxed.
Somewhat food motivated and somewhat just friendly, just wants to be around because she again was hand reared, or with goats actually, so she spent some time inside. I found it interesting actually. I've got another one, Lulu, and she was a fascinating sheep where she learnt to climb through the fence. She was being hand reared, being cared for. She eventually went back to mum after 10 days, but she learnt to climb through and come into the kitchen to have her feed. And she'd do that every day. And I suspect she would still do it today if she had the choice. She would happily go inside. So it's interesting to see those patterns that they develop, and of course that's affecting their brain development too. So are you finding that if sheep were more stimulated as a youngster, are they more likely to be more intelligent as an older sheep?
That is something that we are currently looking at. So one of the projects that I'm working on is with some sheep dairy farmers, and we have been doing things like environmental enrichment when the sheep are tiny little lambs. And the nice thing about being sheep dairy, we can track them throughout their life. So I can't answer that question yet, but I would say quite likely. Or it may be that they're not so much more intelligent as better equipped to deal with more diverse situations. So things are less stressful maybe, or they react better to stress.
Okay. So little Matilda here, when she was little, I used to take her to town with me.
Cool.
I used to put her in the car. Somewhere I've got a photo of her getting cuddles from the butcher,
Oh, lovely.
who wanted to take her home and have her as her child's pet. And I've got photos of her in the quad bike at the motorbike shop, and she used to go in and have cuddles with the woman in parts. So she was very cruise, and she used to follow me down the street to everyone. Oh, I'd be picking up pig scraps and she'd follow me into the cafes, into the, probably shouldn't go to the kitchens, but she did follow me. And she'd come, we'd do this, and the girls would be like, that wasn't a dog, that was a sheep. And I think that's probably contributed, but she was a very chill sheep, and her mum's a very chill sheep as well. So, you know, we've got that family history as well, which could come into your studies possibly if you have offspring, you know, or you'd be able to look at, and especially in the dairy sheep, what's the temperament of mum, what's the temperament of dad.
Yes, exactly.
You know, we could go out and see dad and dad of Ruby Bell is just cruisy, you know, with Bart, so that affects them as well, and their ability to, you know, handle these situations. So I'll be keeping an eye out, and I'm really pleased that she's going to such a fantastic location and with such a lovely owner.
Well,
though I think she's going to be autonomous. She's going to declare herself as being the owner of herself,
yes.
and she will do whatever she wants. Hey, miss.
Which is the way it should be. Hey?
Right. And thanks so much for having a chat. It was very impromptu and a fantastic opportunity. I'm just glowing, actually. I'm really buzzing because it's the psychology of people is really interesting to me. When you go through troubles in your own life, understanding what's going on in our heads and stuff, and so equating it to sheep too, and that someone's actually looking into that is just, it's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating
to find someone who shares my enthusiasm.
Yeah, so I will be keeping an eye on what's going on and keep looking for updates, because part of this deal I'm going to request that we do get some updates.
Oh, good, because I will send you plenty.
Because I love to see what's going on with them, and I've been through a lot with this little sheep to keep her alive, to keep her to this point, and she's actually looking quite stunning. Even though she's a little bit small, she's looking quite lovely as a sheep now. So I'm super happy of where she's gone.
Excellent.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.